So last night, the beginning of our seminar series, we studied the first chapter of the Narada Bhakti Sutras. And I'd like to say a little bit about the author, Narada Muni. Narada Muni previously was a Gandharva in the heavenly planets. The Gandharvas are musicians and singers. And they're not technically demigods, they're like sub-demigods. They're more advanced than human beings, but they're not exactly in the same category as demigods. So they're sub-demigods. So once upon a time, in the heavenly planets, there was one of these, a Sankirtan festival in the heavenly planets. And Sankirtan means to glorify Lord Narayan. Everybody say that name.
Narayan.
Very good. The holy name. That name, Narayan, liberated Ajamil at the time of death. That's how powerful. He wasn't even calling Narayan, he was calling his son, but the name still acted. And he got complete, ultimate liberation. So there was a Sankirtan festival, but Narada, who at that time, he was not known as Narada, he was known as Upabarhana. He was a Gandharva. He had a very beautiful body. He was an excellent singer. So this Upabarhana, while the Sankirtan festival was going on, started to sing songs glorifying the demigods. It'd be just like we're doing this satsang, and if somebody came in here and started playing rap music, it would be completely out of taste. So Upabarhana was singing songs glorifying the demigods when it's supposed to be glorification of Lord Vishnu. So the great Prajapatis and the leaders of the Sankirtan festival, they chastised them. Upabarhana, you do not deserve to be here in the heavenly planets. For your offense, you should go down to earth and take birth as a Shudra with no beautiful body. Take low birth as Sudra. Immediately, Upabarhana fell down, kicked out of the heavenly planets. So, he took birth as the son of a Sudra woman. Now, this Sudra woman and her son, they were engaged in what is called a dharmshala. You know in India what is a dharmshala. A place where people can go get some prasad. So, in India at that time it was the rainy season. And during the rainy season, the saintly people stay in one place. They don't travel. Rest of the year they travel. But during the 4 months of the rainy season, Chaturmasya, they stay in one place. So, this boy, who used to be Upabarhana, and his mother, they were engaged in serving the dishes and cleaning the dishes. And the young boy, he would hear the sadhus discussing about Krishna and about what we're going to study, bhakti. And so, the boy was very, very interested. He liked what the sadhus were talking. So one day he asked the sadhu, "Can I take the remnants of your food?" And they said yes. And as soon as he took the remnants, something happened inside of him. He had a change of heart. And he became very attached to those saintly people. And after the 4 months, when they were leaving, they taught this young boy how to do bhakti. Now, soon after this, the boy's mother went out to milk a cow in the evening, and a snake bit her leg and she died. So now this 5-year-old boy is all by himself. But he had learned many things from the saintly people. So he started to travel and travel long distance. He went through all kinds of towns and villages and industrial places until he came to a particular forest. And under this tree of this forest, one tree, he began to practice what these Bhaktivedantas taught him. And believe it or not, they taught him meditation. But the meditation was a form of bhakti. So he was meditating. And he was meditating on the Lord in the heart, Krishna. All of a sudden his meditation broke, and there, standing in front of him, in person, was the very person he was meditating on. And Narada said that when he saw the Lord, he was so happy. And he felt complete union with the Lord. He didn't feel any difference. And he says, all the limbs of my body were separately enlivened by seeing the Lord. And then the Lord disappeared. So the boy started to meditate again, but the Lord wouldn't come. And he tried, and he tried, and he tried, but the Lord wouldn't come. Then he heard a voice. Narada. Because when Krishna speaks, it's like the rumbling of clouds. So I'm trying the best I can. Narada. You will not see me again in this lifetime. I have shown you my form once. And now for the rest of your life, you will hanker to see this form. And by hankering to see that form, you will become purified. So the rest of the boy's life, all he could do was, I want to see that form. I want to see that form. Then, finally, death came. And when death came, it was like lightning. And the next thing you know, he knows, Lord Brahma is starting a new term of creation. And he comes out of Brahma, but now he has a different body. He has a transcendental body. And with this transcendental body, he travels all over the universe, chanting and preaching and teaching what we're going to study tonight, bhakti. As I mentioned last night, he is the Bhakti Shakti avatar. He is the empowered incarnation of Krishna to distribute bhakti. And Srila Prabhupada says that Narada Muni is the most important acharya in the whole Krishna consciousness movement. And me personally, I want to follow in the footsteps of Narada Muni. Now I can't imitate Narada because Narada can go to heaven, he can go to hell, he can go to the spiritual world, and he doesn't need an airplane or a visa. He can just fly there. So I want to follow in Narada's footsteps by traveling all over the world, especially Santiago. And my goal is to visit Santiago 3 times a year. Would you like that?
Yes.
All right. So you'll have to help.
Yes.
So Narada Muni has written this book, Narada Bhakti Sutras. So tonight, the chapter is Defining Bhakti. If you're ready to proceed, and you're going to hear with rapt attention, then repeat after me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare.
Now I should also begin by chanting the 12-syllable mantra. Please repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So, let's see what Narada says. Now, the characteristics of devotional service will be described according to various authoritative opinions. So this is significant. Narada himself is the authority on bhakti, but he's teaching us that we should not be puffed up. We should always speak in reference to the previous teachers. Lord Chaitanya also did like that. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, he's God. But when Lord Chaitanya preached, he also quoted Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and all the Vedic scriptures. So this is a symptom of a bona fide spiritual master. A bona fide spiritual master himself has a spiritual master. And when the spiritual master speaks, whatever he speaks is confirmed by the Vedas. He doesn't make up his own thing. He makes his statements. He has his particular philosophy, but it is backed up by the authority of the Vedas. So Narada now is going to give different people's definitions. So, the first one he quotes is Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is Narada's disciple. But Vyasadeva is a very special personality. The son of Parashara and Satyavati, correct? Yes. Parashara Muni is also a great, powerful rishi. So Vyasadeva says, what is bhakti? Fond attachment for worshiping the Lord in various ways. Now, just so that we know, the easiest way to worship the Lord in this age, the age of Kali, is chanting the holy name. That's the easiest way. Why? Because you can do it anytime, any place, anywhere. Whether you're clean or not clean, you don't have to worry about, did I take my bath? Don't worry. There are no hard and fast rules for chanting. You can chant while you're walking, sitting down, lying down. No hard and fast. It's so easy. Even Dhriti is now chanting how many rounds every day?
1 round for sure. She tries to do 2 rounds.
Dhriti is doing 2 rounds. She's only 5 years old, right?
Yes, sir.
5-year-old girl can do. So, worshiping the Lord in various ways, that is how Vyasadeva defines bhakti. Now he goes to Gargamuni. Who is Gargamuni? Gargamuni is Krishna's family priest. When Krishna was born, Krishna's father Nanda Maharaj called Gargamuni, and Gargamuni did Krishna's astrology chart. And Gargamuni told Nanda, ooh, this son of yours, he's just like Narayan. And Gargamuni told Nanda Baba, your son has appeared many, many times. And you know what? Previously, he was the son of your friend Vasudeva. And this son of yours, oh, anyone who is attached to this son will be very, very powerful and very, very happy. So in so many ways, Gargamuni was trying to tell Nanda Maharaj, by the way, your son is God. But Nanda Maharaj knows, well, this is just my son. He can't pick up the hints from Gargamuni. Later on, he gets it. But at this time, all he knows is that Krishna is his son. And he said that this son of yours has had many, many names in the past because of his various appearances. So Gargamuni told Nanda Maharaj, take very special care of your son. So what does Gargamuni say? Bhakti is fondness for narrations about the Lord, by the Lord, and so on. We call that Krishna Katha. Krishna Katha means either things that Krishna has spoken himself, like Bhagavad Gita, which you are studying, or descriptions about Krishna that we find in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas. So Gargamuni says, if you like to hear about the Lord, like some people like to hear about Lord Ram, correct? So that's narrations of the Lord. So if you have attachment for Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Gargamuni says, you're doing bhakti. Now he goes on further. He now quotes another sage, Shandilya. And he says, Shandilya says, bhakti results from one's removing all obstructions to taking pleasure in the Supreme Self. Now, the Supreme Self. There are two classes of transcendentalists. Personalists and impersonalists. If you read the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the beginning question by Arjuna, Lord, should I worship your personal form or should I worship you impersonal? Because these two classes of transcendentalists have been in existence since time immemorial. And there's always some discussion. My way is better than your way. Both sides think we are superior. So Arjuna wants to clear it up. And Krishna says, in my opinion, Krishna says, you should worship my personal form. So, when we come to this term, Supreme Self, the personalist says, oh, the Supreme Self, Krishna. The impersonalist will say, the Supreme Self is Brahman. The impersonal effulgence, the oneness. Or if one is a Mayavadi, the Mayavadi says, Supreme Self is you. When you get out of illusion, you become the Supreme Self. Very attractive philosophy for those who want to be cheated. That was Shankaracharya's cheating philosophy. You used to be God. You fell into illusion. All right, do meditation, and you will remember that you were originally God. What a philosophy. That's Shankaracharya's Mayavad philosophy. But those who are personalists, they say the Supreme Self is Krishna, or Lord Ram, or Narayan, any Vishnu Tattva avatar. So Narada has given, looks like 3 authorities. Narada now says, however, bhakti consists of offering every act to the Supreme Lord. Okay? This is what Narada says. Bhakti is offering every act to the Supreme Lord and feeling extreme distress in forgetting the Lord. Now, of all the ones given, me personally, I like Narada's the best. And I'll tell you why. First thing Narada said, offering everything to the Lord. That's exactly what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9. Yad karoshi yadashnasi, yad jahosi dadasiya, yad tapasyasya konteya, tad karushva mad arpanam. Krishna tells Arjuna, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever austerity you perform or sacrifice, whatever you do it as an offering to me. That is Krishna's definition of bhakti. Same thing Narada is saying. Narada is a great devotee of Krishna. Narada once visited Krishna in Dwaraka, and he went to all the palaces. And in every palace that he went to, Krishna was doing something different. This was amazing to Narada. That no matter what palace he went to, Krishna was doing something completely different from the other. He was doing 16,108 different things at the same time. That's why Krishna is God. We can't do that. Don't you wish you could? Don't you wish that you could just expand yourself one time? Right? One time. So one of you would go to work, the other would stay back and relax. Wouldn't that be great? Housewives, right? Expand yourself. Okay, you do the housework. Go to work. I'm going to the movies. Krishna not only did it twice, he did it 16,108 times. And for the rasa dance, he did thousands of expansions. Because there were thousands of gopis for the rasa dance, and there was one Krishna for every 2 gopis. That was a lot of Krishnas there. Unfortunately, we can't do that. Shucks. Try again. Now the second thing, Narada says, feeling extreme distress in forgetting the Lord. So, this is the same thing that Lord Chaitanya teaches when he was teaching Sanatana Goswami. He was teaching Sanatana Goswami different items of bhakti. And he said, all right, here is the ultimate commandment. Like the Christians in their Bible, they have 10 commandments. That's their sacred thing, the 10 commandments, which Moses got from the mountain. So, Lord Chaitanya says, okay, here is the mother of all instruction. What is it? Always remember Krishna, never forget him. That's it. Simple. That covers everything. Now, in the Vedas, when 2 things are given, the second one takes priority over the first. That's the rule. So the first thing is, always remember Krishna, but more important is never forget him. Because if you never forget him, you're automatically remembering him. So never forget. So Narada says that if he does forget, that is distress for him. And when Narada met Krishna, and when Narada visited all the palaces, at the end, Krishna told Narada, I bless you. I bless you that you will never forget me. I would love to get that benediction from Krishna. Because that means one is liberated, eternally liberated. You will never fall into illusion if you always remember Krishna and never forget him. Let's see what else Narada says in this chapter. Now he says, but actually, bhakti is described in all the ways that was mentioned. So Narada is accepting everything everybody said. Now look at what he says here. Yata Vraja Gopikanam. The cowherd women of Vraja are an example of pure bhakti. Now, pure bhakti was described last night in the chapter 1. But it wasn't, I didn't go into detail about pure bhakti. I'll just give a quick definition. So there's two kinds of bhakti. Pure bhakti, and then there is motivated bhakti. Motivated bhakti means I'm doing, but I have some personal motive
Interest.
or desire, interest in mind. Thank you for that. That's not pure. Pure means I'm doing it first, the first level, I'm doing it out of duty. And then
Love.
beyond that, out of, yesterday we heard Narada say, out of love. And Prabhupada explains this love, the closest thing that we have to understand this love is the love of the mother for the child. Because the love of the mother for the child, there's no cause, there's no reason. The mother loves the child spontaneously. Nobody has to teach her. From birth, the mother is taking care of the child, more so than the father. So the mother does everything for the child, even at her own expense. So Prabhupada said that's the closest thing we have to understanding what is pure bhakti. So, the cowherd women of Braja are an example of pure bhakti. Even in the case of the gopis, one cannot criticize them for forgetting the Lord's greatness, because the gopis did not see Krishna as God. The gopis saw Krishna as Cupid. They didn't see him as God. And Narada is saying, but you cannot criticize them for that, because Krishna accepted that. Krishna wanted that. We learned from the Chaitanya Charitamrita that when Krishna hears the hymns of the Vedas, it's boring. But when Krishna gets chastised by his lovers, that is more attractive to him. Because Krishna is more interested in spontaneous love. These gopis, even though they didn't see Krishna as God, they had spontaneous love for him. So Krishna agreed to relate to them because they had this spontaneous love for him. Kamsa